Thank you, Judy. I never know what you're going to have me dancing at the beginning of the service or marching. So welcome in all the elephants. Welcome. Let us pray. Father, Mother God, we acknowledge you are always and everywhere present. We hear the prophetic call from Isaiah. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of God is upon you. So we allow our consciousness to awaken to the truth of our being and the truth of the divine presence, shining upon us, shining within us, shining among us. And all is well in this truth. So as we gather this day to celebrate the goodness of life, let us each speak a silent word, giving ourselves permission to be open-hearted and open-minded in this very hour. Thanks be to God. Thanks be to the Christ with us all. And so it is. Amen. And I invite you to seal this time of prayer with our statement of being, one of the most fundamental statements we offer in unity is the unity or the presence in all of God, of Creator, of Source. Together, there is but one presence and one power in my life, in this church, and in the universe, God, the omnipotent good. I welcome all those who have joined together in this sanctuary and all of our friends who are watching online. Be sure to check in with us. I know some of you are quite bold and you give us your name and location every week, but I also know there are some that don't always reveal from where they are watching, so I just encourage you to do. It warms our hearts to see how many friends from how many distant locations are joining us, because we do endeavor in this sanctuary to hold all of you in consciousness and awareness that although we cannot see your physical presence, we know by our open-heartedness that you have come to join us this morning. So we give thanks. I invite those present in the sanctuary to silence your phones or any other devices so they don't call out to us during the service. Today, Judy Moen and our guest, Bill Mann, will offer our music, and we are grateful. Adam Schneider is live stream producer. And a couple of notes. The beautiful flowers this morning are given by the Unity South family in total awe and appreciation of Judy Moen, our director of music. We're grateful for your enduring presence and your great skill and abundant talents that grace our church services for, do you know how many years? 33. Wow. Judy, you're right there with the number of years that Jesus walked this earth. A monumental 33. So we're grateful for that. And then I have an announcement, I guess I'd call more on the bitter side. The good pleasure to work closely in the office and everything that it takes to keep this ministry going. Over the last 4 years, I've had a good right arm in Nancy Sakaram. This is her last week here at the church. She has resigned, not for any bad reason, but she's been working 2 jobs, and she's let both of them go so that she can stay home and not work for a while. and give a chance to kind of regain her energy and sense of balance. So all is good, but still the time has come to say farewell. Her last day in the office is Thursday, and so I encourage you, especially if you've worked with Nancy directly in some way, call in to the office this week during the afternoons, 12 to 5, and give her a little blessing of your gratitude and your trust that all is well with her as she goes forward in her life. So thanks be for the help that comes our way. And times change, and we bless Nancy as she goes forward. Now I invite as we sing our opening song, New Horizons. We'll sing it twice because the minister needs one time around just to kind of learn it. We're grateful. That was a classic unity song by New York City minister Eric Butterworth, who wrote not only the poetry, but he wrote the music as well, which really intrigues me because that doesn't quite sound like a song that came out of New York City. It sounds a little more Midwestern or Western. Thanks, Eric. Now let us take a moment for really fundamental work as a spiritual family, and that is to acknowledge the divine presence here among us and within each of us. So I invite you, as you're comfortable, to look around the room and hold that thought that we've etched into the beautiful windows of this sanctuary. We behold the Christ in you. We behold the Christ in you. For me, that is a real secret to our unity. We all come from different backgrounds. We have different ideas, different opinions. There are different things about the whole general category of spirituality for us. But the one thing that holds us together, the one thing that makes us a unified unity ministry, or any unity ministry around the world, is this acknowledgement of the divine presence in one another. I don't know about you, I live in this kind of rarefied atmosphere of being a minister, a member of clergy, that maybe I'm kind of in a separate area. But I know for many of us all week we might feel judged by how well we do our job. We might be judged by grades if we're pursuing education. We might be judged by our neighbors, our city. But in unity, we do the best we can individually to keep in our mind the divine presence in each other. And when we struggle because I'm not quite sure about how Yvette is approaching life, or Don, I return to this fundamental truth. I do behold the Christ, the divine ideal, at the very center of your being because you are a good creation of God. That can be a real leading life for us as we move through this world that at times may seem chaotic, violent, difficult, to keep affirming. Someone may not know it, but at the very center of their being is that divine presence that, if it were to call out in audible words, it would say, yes, yes, yes. Today, you may notice by our bulletin and by experiencing the seer of the service, we're launching into a new order, a new way of doing things. So I and your board members are always interested in your feedback in how it's going. So now I invite prayer chaplain co-leader Don Rollefson to share with you the daily word, our community prayer, and we'll sing the Lord's Prayer.
The daily word for today, Sunday, June 12th, 2022, is pray for others. The affirmation is, in love and faith, I pray with you. I am honored to pray with others, and I am grateful when others support me in prayer. When praying hearts and minds are joined, the power of prayer is multiplied. My partners in prayer may be in the same room or far away. We may be close friends or we may be strangers. The power of prayer transcends what mere words can express. So we need not even speak the same language. We share the heart's language of love and faith. Although the appearance of sickness, a perception of lack or insufficiency, or interpersonal discord may have prompted us to pray, we set those concerns aside as we say yes to wholeness, abundance, and harmonizing love that are blessings in our lives and in every life. From Matthew chapter 18, verse 19, again, truly I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. Slow your breathing. Sit comfortably. Clear your mind of any concerns. Focus on this very moment. Anything that may come to mind may be let go during this peaceful time. Bring to mind loving thoughts of all those you may be praying with. No matter who they are, no matter where they are. Some you may not know personally, but we and they are all one in spirit. And in that spirit, we acknowledge the full power of praying together. We are never alone. Let's embrace one another in prayer. The silent unity affirmation for today is all that I need to know flows from within. I am in the presence and radiating the power of wisdom here and now. I am in the presence and radiating the power of wisdom here and now. May I see, hear, and sense all that I need to know for the moments ahead, flowing from infinite, universal, divine wisdom. I discern and decide in trust. In this state of oneness with all, we acknowledge the prayer request Unity South has received. We behold and affirm the truth within these individuals. We know that Spirit is working in their lives as they further awaken to the presence of God as their health, supply, and sense of purpose. We focus on peace, harmony, and joy as we take a few moments in the silence. Let us now sing the Lord's Prayer and feel the truth that is expressed in this model of prayer taught by Jesus Christ.
A prayer chaplain will be in the back of the sanctuary to pray with you individually about any celebration or any challenge you may be experiencing in your life. Don't hesitate to simply say, "Pray with me," and they'll take it from there. Now it is my pleasure to invite Bill Mann to come forward and share his music with us. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat, waiting to see what you're about to share with us.
need a little help with a lesson to be learned, or if I should lose my way, I know just where to turn, 'cause there's a voice in my heart inviting me within to a quiet place where wisdom can begin. When I listen, I begin to hear, and hearing I start to understand. As I understand, I begin to know, and knowing, I smile to see the plan. Smiling opens up my heart, and love comes pouring in, and fills me to the brim, and flows back out again. There's something to be said for listening. But sometimes I forget the wisdom must be earned. When I believe I know it all, yet there's still so much to learn. But here's that quiet inner voice, so gentle and so clear, reminding me to open up my ears. When I listen, I begin to hear. Hearing, I start to understand. As I understand, I begin to know. And knowing, I smile to see the plan. Smiling opens up my heart. And love comes pouring in, fills me to the brim, and flows back out again. There's something to be said for listening. There's something to be said for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Putting us in a state of remembering to listen is so essential, and really the theme of my lesson today, insights in this very room. Well, first of all, some little housekeeping. Have you noticed? This week we have entered summer for sure. I'm glad I'm getting out of town before Tuesday. This week is going to bring us a burst of heat. Now, I'm going to drive to Kansas City after this service is over to join the annual International Unity Convention being held this week. There's already a stir at Unity Village as people are starting to arrive this weekend. Things are already set up and ready to go for a new experience. What will happen? We ministers and licensed teachers and other guests of the convention are wondering. What will be envisioned? What new things will we learn about Unity's future? With many new ideas coming forward, To maintain balance in our unity communities, there needs to be a polarity between new ideas and the root of who we are as students of truth, who we are in our 130 years of history as a world community known as unity. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, made a statement. It's really more than a statement. It creates an image and mind for us that is really an essential lesson or motto or way of living. He said, "Friends, the soul is pivotal." The soul is pivotal. It pivots just as a door pivots, swinging one way and swinging back the other way. I don't know how many times when I've interviewed applicants for the Unity Ministerial Training Program and reviewed their progress, that quotation has come up and I've said, "What does it mean to you?" And the ideas vary. For me, myself, the soul is pivotal means, as Charles said, we look out into the world. And there we see many things. We hear many things. We experience many things. But at some point, Charles said the soul must pivot back inward, where in our inner life of soul, we make sense, we make meaning, we see how it all holds together in the master plan of God. Perhaps an easier way to think of this, our body teaches us in our breathing. We breathe out. And then there comes a time when our body insists that we breathe back in. And the word for taking in the breath is inspiration. Isn't it interesting that that's so closely connected to how we understand receiving insight and power from a divine source is our inspiration. So even our body, as we listen carefully to it, it teaches us, I don't know how many times a day, depending on how fast we're breathing, it's constantly reminding you, yes, breathe out into the world. Be in all that activity, all that you can perceive. But at some point, remember, you need inspiration. You need to bring the breath back to the body. So let's do a little experiment here. I'm going to ask you, purse your lips and exhaust. Breathe out all the air you have in your lungs. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. I could go on all day. Don't you feel that inner urge of your body saying for balance, for well-being, you must breathe in again? Rudolf Steiner said when we understood this natural rhythm that the breathing of our bodies is teaching us, we would realize, yes, I need this in my soul. I need to be out in the world, and for balance, I need to be in my very center of being. Just like our physical breathing, this is how we create balance in our life. Have you ever had the experience, I certainly have, of having a very busy week, a lot on my plate, so to speak. And at some point, I suddenly experience exhaustion, frustration. I've got to take a break. That's because I have not maintained that balance for myself. Out here, in here. Out here, in here. This is what the unity teaching that says, begin everything with prayer. It doesn't mean. It means begin every project, every activity of your life by first briefly turning within to the divine presence within you and find your balance, your grounding, your sense of well-being. Then choose to act out here in the world and do whatever you're called to do. And then once again, you'll turn within to be empowered within, to be balanced, to be healed as necessary from the very core of your being. Myrtle Fillmore, the real mother of unity, once wrote to someone who was struggling to understand this balance in life. And she created this very beautiful image. She said, I do not believe the lily. You know, water lilies? I live over by Richfield Lake, and I was walking there yesterday. I couldn't believe the hundreds of lilies, full bloom and some still in bud, that were sitting on the surface of the water. So Myrtle said, I do not believe that the lily feels the terrors of darkness down at the bottom of the pond, nor does it allow the mud and water that shut out much of the light way down there to keep it from appropriating the good that is provided for it and pushing surely and intelligently upward to the freedom and the light that were there for it long before the bulb began to swell and burst forth that lily sprout. I am sure that the lily is conscious only of the foods in the earth and the warmth and helpfulness of the sun and the air. I am sure that if we allow the intelligence within us to appropriate, to be focused on only the good and that which keeps us looking up, we too shall be conscious of good only, and we will grow just as perfectly and beautifully as the lily. Perhaps she was inspired by the prophet Isaiah, who proclaimed, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory and the brilliance of the Creator has risen upon you." For in fact, in the outer world, darkness will cover the earth, and deep darkness will cover the peoples. But the eternal will rise within you, and God's glory and brilliance will be seen on you. People will come to your light, and authorities to the brightness of your rising. What an incredible image for us to hold, that we can seek and keep our focus upon light, upon good. And that refreshes us and strengthens us in times of chaos and doubt. But I want to approach this theme in a little different way and take some insight from the Jewish wisdom tradition, the culture of Jesus' world and time. He spoke these well-known words concerning rooms, special places, and eternal houses. And these words have often been taken by people and understood as referring to the afterlife. Charles Fillmore told his congregation in Kansas City decades ago, let's just set aside this afterlife proposition for a while and talk about here and now. So Jesus' words is recorded by John, chapter 14. In God's house are many dwelling places. If it were not so, I would have told you. because I am going there to prepare a room for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back again and I will take you to myself, so that where I am, you may be also. And where I'm going, you know the way. Thomas, the so-called doubter, said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going, so how can we know the way? Jesus replied, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes into awareness of the Father of our origin, but through the truth that I am. So let's not just limit these words of wisdom to heavenly talk, or about where we go when we lay this physical body down. The author Alexander Poltorak writes, before this image may be considered, we must first understand the meaning of a room. A room. I know what it means to me. I'm hoping my room in Kansas City is ready for me when I get there. But let's think. Why do we have different rooms in our houses? Obviously, they each serve a different purpose. The living room, the kitchen, the dining room, the bedroom. Each houses and serves a different aspect of our lives. This fragmentation of space, however, may also cause a certain fragmentation of consciousness, and a transition from one room to another may require a change in our state of mind. So using this metaphor of many rooms in God's great house, God's great castle or mansion, is implying perhaps from Jesus' tradition, his culture, the many states of consciousness, the many ways of beholding we all have. The Christ, the ideal mind, says, I go to prepare a place for you. We might think of that as the metaphor of a safe room that some people build into their houses, a place that protects them in times of difficulty or violence in the outer world, a place of retreat, a place where they know they will be protected. Perhaps that can be understood as going to the very center of our being, what in unity we call the I am. The center of all that I am, created by God. The I am. The prophets of old called it the secret place of the Most High. Or speaking of the temple, they talked of the Holy of Holies. The very essence of our true self as God's creation. Now, last week I quoted from a poem by Albert Camus, and the one line, in the midst of chaos, I found there was within me an invincible calm. My friend Patsy Scala, who lives in Syracuse, New York, and often watches our service live, was very intrigued when I read that line. So I felt called to mail the poem to her. And she decided to write in her daily inspiration that she puts on Facebook. And so she wrote, the world we live in seems chaotic lately, with warring countries and angry politics. But as I look at nature, the hummingbirds still come to my feeders. Sunshine still warms the world. And the outdoor chaos or activity seems somehow harmonious. We can achieve this same kind of calm. All it takes is concentration on what is right rather than on what is wrong. Concentration on what is right rather than what is wrong. Myrtle, telling the story of her own healing and development a century ago, said the Spirit spoke to her and said, "You have looked thoroughly among all your faults. Now, look at your virtues. Look at the spiritual gifts God has placed within you." In our unity tradition, Charles Fillmore spoke of them as the 12 powers that you behold in our windows. We all have these spiritual gifts in potential, but it is our free choice to focus on them and to develop them further in our life. And they then can help us achieve this invincible calm in a time of outer chaos, if we'll but remember. Patsy further reminded me that we humans make time to know others, to become proficient at our jobs, to know what goes on in the world around us. But how often do we take the time to explore what really matters, what goes on within the depth of our souls? That shapes everything we are, everything we see in this world, is this truth centered within. A classic motto from New Thought, and often cited in Unity, especially by Unity minister Ernest Wilson, who succeeded Charles Fillmore in the Unity work, was to take a balanced approach to life, what we're trying to achieve here, now. And they used this motto: first to God, then to humanity as God directs. That was another way of saying begin everything in prayer. That is, turn to that secret place of the Most High, that divine presence within all of us, whether we know it or not. Turn to it. Be centered in it. Let it open your mind and heart. Then take your outer action in the world. Then turn to others in your relationships after you've opened your heart inwardly. First to God, and then to humanity as God directs. That's a simple phrase, but you can build a whole life around it. To remember that wisdom that God has placed at the very core of your being. To let it counsel you, guide you, inform you, empower you. Let the divine love at the very center of who you are. Let that warm you from within and then shape how you relate to others, how you do your work, how you meet the world from a place of open-heartedness. We are created so beautifully by our God. You know the word I like. Wow! World of wonders. And I'm part of it. I am part of this incredible plan of God. Jesus expressed it in those words, you shall know the truth. And the very truth you know will free you, will empower you, will give you all you need to bring forth good in your life, your community, your world. Can we not see how essential that is in the world of today, when there at least seems to be so much strife, so much conflict, so much you and me instead of we? Here are formulas in these simple words from this simple man of centuries ago in the Middle East, who offered us prescriptions for life, for ways of being that not only bless and benefit us individually, but bless our communities and our being together. Well, I want to come to a conclusion with a story from Rabbi Zev Wolfe. I like that name, Zev. It sounds like Rev. I may have to change myself to Zev Stacey. Rabbi Zev Wolfe wrote this story. He told of a king who, at the height of one crazy drunken party, announced that on a certain day, anyone in his kingdom could come and take whatever they wished from the royal treasure. You talk about a sale at Sam's Club or Costco. This is much, much bigger. The gates of the king's treasury will be open to you. It's like everybody winning the lotto all at once. Then the next morning, the king was sober and couldn't believe what he had done. Fortunately for him, his wise advisors came up with a plan. And here it is. On the appointed day, the gates of the palace courtyard opened, and the thousands who had camped out the night before poured in, kind of like the opening of the state fair. They poured in, yet within a few seconds, they were dumb and stopped in their tracks. The most magnificent music they had ever heard wafted over and poured out of the sound system. And through the air, exotic birds flew overhead and caught their attention as the birds landed in one beautiful flowering tree after the next. The sights, the smells, and most of all, the sound of the exquisite music that had entered their ears grabbed them as though they had been drugged and they could proceed no further. None of them, save one bright young man, he had plugged his ears with cotton and walked back and forth from the treasury to his wagon, bringing one wheelbarrow of fortune after another out of the treasury and loading it up to cart it away to his home. "Fools!" he cried. "This is only the courtyard. The real treasure that can be acquired, that will buy all these outer things you like, and much more, lies beyond, lies within the treasury." What a wonderful metaphor for our truth. Jesus said, "Seek first the kingdom of God. Then all these outer things, the beautiful music, the exotic birds, all the bargains from Costco, they'll all come in their time. But begin first with the kingdom of God." That's the realm of all possibility, all truth, all love, all wisdom, all goodness within the very center of your being. Be a sharp consumer. Start at that inner treasury before you start buying all the things out there in the world. Well, let's take this within now and create an image. What I'm going to propose, you are your own contractor. You can continue to work with this image day by day. Build it up in your mind. Carry it with you. We're going to work with this idea that the Jewish tradition presented in the days of Jesus, that spoke of the many rooms of the divine house of our consciousness, our mind. So close your eyes and gently move from this concern with the outer activity of the world, even the outer activity here at Unity South this morning. All your friends, the wonderful refreshments that await us downstairs. Just set that aside for a moment and be willing to go within. This imagery of Judaism from long ago said your mind is like a house with many rooms and many levels in that house. So see yourself now moving about in your inner home, your inner consciousness. Remember, every room is made for a specific purpose. And that is so like what physiologists tell us about our nervous system. Different ways of understanding the world in different parts of our being. So I invite you to consider the main floor of your house and the different rooms with their different purpose. There's a place for your thinking activity. Perhaps it's like a well-supplied library filled with all kinds of information for you to work on. Now move to another quality of your life. You have a feeling nature, a heart that can grasp things with appreciation, with reverence, with joy. Perhaps it's like the dining room, a place where you experience many good things. Another part of the house, perhaps where work is done, in the kitchen, speaks to your life of will. That inner part of you that says, yes, there's work to be done and I'll do it. But wait. Let's travel now downstairs to the so-called basement, the subconscious, and discover there the truth of what some call our karma, the purpose we came into this world, our special gift. Perhaps it's piled among boxes and luggage and many things. This is your opportunity to bring it into light, to bring it into your awareness. Your special reason for being born into this world. It's yours to discover. Now let's climb several flights of stairs and end up in the attic of the house, the highest place of the house. There we may have packed away our first love, our first sense of the I am, our first realization of what God created in us, packed away and forgotten in the attic, perhaps. Now it's your chance to bring it forth. to bring it into the light, to understand that highest truth of your being. We remember those words of Jesus Christ, "In my Father's realm, there are many dwelling places, many rooms, many states of consciousness." It is in our inner life that we bring that all together, so that we don't live a life fragmented, but we live our life from a sense of wholeness, that all we need, God has provided. It's all there in the house of our mind, all there for us to create from. But we must bring all these good qualities into the light of awareness, not hidden away in boxes and file cabinets and dusty corners of our mind, but rejoice, praise them, put them into action. So there's a great deal of unpacking to do, perhaps. I invite you to gently allow your attention to return to this time and place where you're seated among friends who behold the Christ, the truth within you. What a blessed atmosphere to be with people who see the best in you, the potential in you, the beauty and good in you. You've got it all there in those rooms of your mind. Make a practice to spend some quiet time searching those rooms and bringing those hidden treasures into the full light of day, where they may serve you and by extension bless your community and your world. Father, Mother God, for the wisdom, the tremendous wisdom in which you have created us, the potential within us. We say thanks be to God that it is so.
Where I'm standing on the edge, I am looking over the entire world. There below me, like a vision, far horizon like a flag unfurled. And in my mind I see this can be just what I want it to be. When I'm dreaming, I imagine sweet perfection drifting down on me. Fill my heart to overflowing like a river kissed by the sea. My dream is true. My life becomes whatever I choose. And every moment there is waiting right in front of me, that one chance in a lifetime, asking, will I take it? Which way to turn? left or right? Which way darkness, which way light? Should I play it safe or risk a big mistake? I forge my life with every choice I make. When I finally stop resisting and walk away from all fear and doubt, and when my heart has fallen open and all my love has come tumbling out, I will be free. Choose just who I choose to be. There's an endless opportunity to sleep away. Every moment there is waiting right in front of me. That one chance in a lifetime asking, will I take it? Which way to turn, left or right? Which way darkness, which way light? Should I play it safe or risk the big mistake? I forge my life with every choice I make. I forge my life with every choice I Thank you very much. Thank you.
I remember that hotel chain that says, we'll keep the light on for you. It's comforting as I travel, but I hope it's comforting for you to realize that inner experience of prayer and meditation, that going to the very center of your being, Spirit is saying, I'll keep the light on for you. Whether you have a spiritual practice on a daily basis, or you haven't worked it for months or even years, isn't that a comforting thought to know that Spirit will keep the light on for you? You may return to the home of the center of your soul whenever you choose. So now, let us take time to bless our offerings, the good we share, that we transform from mine to ours, to work through this ministry and bless the world. I invite you to take that gift in hand and to join with me in our offertory blessing. As soon as I find it. So, perhaps someone else would like to lead it. Isn't it funny when we've used a blessing for 40 years and then suddenly we think we've forgotten it? But if we just trust, it's always there. So let us bless our gifts as we affirm divine love flowing through us, blesses and multiplies all the good we are and have, all the good that we give and receive, and we are grateful. Here is our love as a community brought forward, and so we bless it by seeing it in its truth. It's not simply a form of currency, personal checks. This is love because we have freely given it to bless something greater than our own individual lives, to bless our community and our world. Thanks be to God for this mighty substance. Amen. So let's stand now as we prepare to sing our closing song. Oh, you don't need the words. She knows it from top to bottom. So I invite you to stand as we sing, I release and I let go. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I am only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. In my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I am only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. At my feet I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. And now I invite you to join me in an affirmation to seal our time together and to carry us throughout this coming week, our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and it is so. Judy? But Keys to the Kingdom's over. Last week was the last class. Well, you can keep working with your book if you want to.